It's time for Ask Monday. We got some more advice to give out, and this one is interesting. So let me just go ahead and get started. All right, I'm gonna play the music.
Indeed. Why is it so?
It's so nice, isn't it? It's perfect.
It's the Incredible Hulk ending.
This is this is weirdly sad. Like why this?
Well, we're here to give someone some sad.
I feel like we need something. I feel like we need something more calming if we're gonna be helping.
This
people.
is calming. This is very calm.
I'd say this is more like depressing.
This is romantic music. So I don't want to hear it, James. Are you romantic?
This is romantic.
Do you know anything
music?
about romance, mister?
I do, and let me tell you, there's a lot of minor chords in this. This sounds very sad.
He knows about music.
I
told
do
me about the minor and everything. Regardless, though, guys, I'm gonna ask you guys, how do you guys feel about ultimatums?
Ultimatums. I say sometimes they're necessary, but I guess it depends on the situation, right?
It always depends on the situation.
It's very contextual.
Always depends on the situation. But some people think the ultimatums are a no-go. When someone brings out an ultimatum in the relationship, that's when you know the relationship is over.
Oh, geez, yeah. Well, I mean...
That's a good point when you think about it.
But
I agree, though. Maybe they could be necessary sometimes.
I don't always apply them to relationships. It could be like anything.
So how do you think about ultimatums in a relationship?
Specifically.
Yes, like this or we're over.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Well,
I think at that point it's already
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, you gotta at least make the effort to try and communicate. Like, oh, are we gonna do this for the better, or are we just gonna like keep going like this because this ain't working for me? You know.
Interesting. Good point. Aisha, what do you think about ultimatums in a relationship?
I think they're good.
You think they're good?
Yeah.
You think they're valid?
Yeah.
Think they work?
When necessary, they're necessary.
Do you think they work though? Because after you give into the ultimatum, is the relationship still the same afterwards, or do you feel like you just lost?
Giving in. It's just like.
You think it's giving? You think it's coming to a compromise?
That's what relationships are about.
It would be a compromise if it wasn't an ultimatum, though. Ultimatums are never a compromise. They're just what the person wants.
Yeah, but I think people think ultimatums are compromises. Like, here's the ultimatum. If we don't do this, we'll do... No, that's a totally different thing.
Wait, I don't get it.
Ultimatum?
What's the ultimatum?
That's
I'm
like the
going to
final
give you this
say.
ultimatum, but ultimatum in general is where a partner, a woman or a man, goes like, I don't like this in a relationship. You have to change this, or we're not together anymore.
Oh, I like that.
It's the final say.
You like them?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Otherwise, it won't work.
Well,
I
think Jamie will disagree.
Oh, maybe. She's coming. No, she's coming in. But Addison, what do you think of ultimatums?
I don't like them. I like the easy way out. I like having options.
You like having options?
Yeah, I like having different loopholes and stuff.
Of course you do.
Like if we have plans to go out, if we have plans to go to a club, let's bump it up to a bar.
Jamie, I'm glad you're back. Let me ask you something. What do you think about ultimatums in relationships? Do you think they work?
I think she knows a thing or two about ultimatums. I think we've heard some stories already before. We're talking about ultimatums, Jamie.
That's a good show.
No, we're talking about.
Do you think ultimatums in a relationship work?
In relationships?
Ultimate relationships.
Do you think ultimatums in a relationship work?
It depends.
Like, it's very contextual,
like you wanted to give an ultimatum at one point, didn't you? You spoke about that on air.
I feel like you said like if he goes like on the one-way street, it's over.
That's not what. I don't think that counts as an ultimatum.
Is that an ultimatum?
No, it's not. That's a
safety
nitpick.
hazard.
That's a big safety hazard, but it's also like more of a nitpick. I don't think that ends relationships.
No, I feel like for me, like
I think that
okay,
chooses
James,
who she wants.
Last year, I really was. I feel like I was coming down from peer pressure from people. Why is this music so fitting? I feel like...
Oh my god, really?
I feel like there was like one person in my life that was really pressuring me to feel like I needed to be engaged and married like as soon as possible.
I thought that from you. You had a very strong opinion on that.
Jeez.
And I've come to learn that like right now might not be the best time and place. I really hate this music. It's so fitting.
This is terrible.
But
it's good, though. It's good stuff.
I honestly...
This is not good for therapy.
But I feel personally that like... now it doesn't matter as much. When I watch a show like Love is Blind, for example, I'm always gonna be like, okay, so you're proposing tomorrow, right? And he's like, no. But I know now, since we've talked it out, it's a lot easier to feel like, hey, it's okay, like it's whenever it's gonna happen. But I don't have that pressure on him anymore.
I think ultimatums are very silly. I think once you bring an ultimatum in a relationship, it ruins a relationship.
I feel like if you've been together,
it's not a compromise. Like Aisha said, it's just not a compromise. It's the opposite.
Okay, here's my like, take on it. I feel if you've been
compromise.
I feel like if you've been in a relationship for a short amount of time, I feel like fine, it shouldn't exist. But I feel like if you've been 10 plus years with this person and you're not committing, what are you doing?
I don't think ultimatums are all about commitments. For example, I'm going to give you an ultimatum right now. Then we're going to discuss it. We're going to give this person advice. All right, ready?
I thought you meant like relationship-wise, like to get married.
It is. This is a relationship.
I still feel.
Well, not to get married, but it's just in any relationship.
This one is relationship ultimatum right here. Let me tell you. I, 40, female, want to divorce my husband, 46, male, because of his dogs. So let's hear this ultimatum.
Oh, no.
Ready for this one? I have built up hate towards his dogs. They bark all day. He refused to put a bark collar. They bring a mess inside the house. Just today, they pooped and spread it all over the living room and kitchen room and the newly installed vinyl floor. We put gates in the stairs, but they still managed to jump over and peed and pooped on the carpet upstairs. Excuse me for saying pee and poop so much. I'm sorry. They dug upstairs trash and scattered it all over. And even with a lid, they managed to dig up kitchen trash. They chew and licked on the couches. I put a couch cover already, but underneath is already a destroyed couch. They used to sleep with us on the bed. Dog hair, leaves, rocks, and insects, all these things, and God knows what else they brought in.
Did she type out that apology for the lady? I knew she did.
But I was able to convince him to stop this because it's really gross. They jumped over the dining table and kitchen counters to snatch food. One time they left a tooth mark on my child's small finger as one of them grabbed the food from his hand. Every time his dogs cause chaos in the house, it's my fault. They go upstairs. I didn't close the gates. They get hold of the trash. I didn't close the lids. They snatched food from my child's hands. I wasn't watching him. For the past 10 years, I adjusted and compromised for his dogs. Today, I've had enough. They've pooped and somehow spread it all over my 7K newly installed vinyl and living room floor, kitchen, and bathroom. They are 60-pound dogs where poop is big. I cleaned it very well, but since it's grained and the dirt is still there and made a yellow-brown stain, of course it's my fault, even when the doggy door is opened. So I told him I have enough, and if he doesn't get rid of them, I will divorce him. I want him to clean, and I want a clean and nice house.
You're supposed to train
but
big
as
dogs.
long as they are around, it will never happen.
That's terrible.
What do you guys think about that?
How long do dogs
10
live
years.
for?
Well, 60-pound dogs, when they're healthy, can live up to like 10, 11?
So they're almost done, right?
That's a good way of looking at it,
She said
actually.
10 years.
Yeah.
I want to say at most they can live like 15
I
to
should bring up a
17
good point
years.
there. I'm not going to
That's
lie.
You only
too much
got
for big dogs.
she can hold off for
Big
like another
dogs
year.
less so
And then
because
he'll
of the
be too
genetics. But
traumatized to buy like another
Small
dog.
dogs can last up to 16 years if treated really well, but if they're
big
like,
dogs can make it, but it doesn't always.
Big dogs are
bode
always in
well.
pain,
It doesn't
and
always bode well. A lot of them have bad genetics.
it's usually 10 to 11 years.
Okay,
So
girl,
I think,
just wait a couple months.
I mean, you could take that route, or you could be really, really sick and sinister and put them down without him knowing, or
Whoa.
that is
Stop
sick.
feeding them or something.
Oh
Wait,
my
that's like
God.
That's worse.
That's like bad.
That's
animal,
worse.
It's animal abuse, actually.
Euthanasia is like
That's actually horrible.
humane compared to that. What are you talking about?
Or you could just go ahead and send them to a doggy daycare where they train
So first,
them.
let me ask you guys this, all right? Then we'll go into the actual advice, all right? James, do you think she's reasonable for this ultimatum?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. You said, I mean, she said specifically, 10 years she put up with this.
Yeah.
All this time.
Yep. They've been married
They
with
did-
children.
Where
They're
are they
married for a
gonna
while.
go, the dogs?
They, I don't know. I guess they just want to get them adopted somewhere else for like to another
I feel like this woman
place.
either wants to get them euthanized, get them adopted. this, the
Anything
other.
to get rid of them,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Well, that's. I feel like for 10 years you put up with this stuff, and she
How do
says
you not love these
specifically
dogs?
for 10 years she's dealt with
right?
the dogs.
Kind of crazy.
For 10 years, these dogs she's been dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some have come, some have gone, but either way, they're not accountable for them. Like they're not training them properly.
That's true. They're
They're
not
not
doing the right
like
steps.
this is terrible, and they're like hurting the kids now too. That's even an even bigger problem. If this is
true.
happening and you've put up with it for this long, what are you doing? Like I don't know.
It sounds more like poor training.
This sounds like a
anything
child
else.
services
Right.
matter. Like I
Yeah,
feel like it's like
interesting.
Child Protective Services
Can they
is gonna
just live
pull up.
outside?
That's
Or
a good
no?
point, too, Ash. Maybe they have a big house. Maybe they could just live in the backyard. Jamie, do you think
That's
this
not
ultimatum is
a
reasonable?
great idea either, but all right.
Especially now that James brought up the fact that it's been 10 years. Like
10 years?
Just to emphasize that. I feel like it doesn't make sense why you would all of a sudden just be fed up with it now. I get
I think
like
it's because
like
of the floor thing.
I get
I think she just got this new 7K floor.
I mean,
and
I
that's
get
why.
it. Like, there's small little issues that are just building up to be one big problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you had proper training, but it's no offense, it is a little too late for dogs who are over
Oh
a
no,
certain
it is
amount of years.
absolutely
It's
too
definitely
late.
too
You
late.
can't
Too late.
train them at this point.
Nope.
Yeah, so I feel like,
They're going to
especially
pass soon, honestly. I think
I
Ash
feel
is
like
right here.
because they're so, you've had them for so long. There's no point in training them, and there's also just no point because, like she said, like they're gonna pass away eventually. I feel terrible.
Honestly,
But
she should do the ultimatum.
I don't think
She's
so.
okay with this? You
Either
think it's
way.
reasonable?
Because I feel like he doesn't respect her.
Maybe
It does kinda-
I don't
maybe
think
he loves
so.
these dogs more than he loves
Yeah.
her.
It,
That's the
it
thing.
might sound like that because I'm gonna be honest.
But
hearing
let's
this,
look at the husband's side, all right?
But if you
he
think
tells
about
her
it-
that she doesn't close the lids of the garbage cans. She tells her that she doesn't close the gates. And does she? No, she does not.
But here's the
So maybe
thing.
she's pointing the finger at the wrong person.
I
don't
think
know.
she never really directly says that she has issues with him at all.
No.
If you think about
Nope.
it.
That's
it's
true.
not him.
It's not
it's
him.
these 60-pound dogs.
It's so why would you divorce somebody over other beings?
That's why I think ultimatums are so silly. I mean, this one in particular is the silliest, in my opinion.
But that's why I'm saying, like, if you really look at it and if you were to make a pro and con list, you would see how ridiculous it sounds. You're talking about animals who literally have the minds of a 2-year-old. I mean, you have a kid, so you should understand that.
They're smart beings, but it's like
I
you
think
have to
she's
associate.
just really upset about the
them,
work she has
you know?
to do. Maybe instead of an ultimatum of like her saying like it's either this or divorce, she could have been like, "Listen, Mister, you need to do your share of the cleaning here, okay? Because I'm tired of cleaning after your dogs that you love so much." I think like that would have been the best way to tell him something.
I think she should put her foot down and be like, once these dogs are gone, we're not getting any other dog unless you put
that would
the
make sense
training
too.
in.
That makes sense too.
I
Addison,
think that would be fair.
What do you think was ultimatum?
No, this is horrible. You can't, like, it's been a decade. You can't just say, all of a sudden go no. But like you
Yep.
said, it's definitely because of the new vinyl floors. But wouldn't that be easy to clean up, though? Vinyl floors?
I think
I
it's
don't
like
know.
you think it's like just whoop and it's
Yeah,
clean,
it's
right?
like-
Maybe
Vinyl.
she doesn't have good enough cleaning products. I don't
It's
know.
not like it's a rug or anything. I'm very
Yeah, that's what I mean.
confused
It's not,
by
if it's
this.
carpeting, I get it.
Dude,
That's
either
like gross. Oh my.
yeah, no, either way, it's a bad situation. But I want to say, what left you complacent for 10 years?
You can't even like leave.
Maybe she's been telling him.
Now,
for
what do you
10
guys think about the
years.
dog nipping at the little kid who went to grab his food?
Can I be honest with you? As a kid,
I think the kid deserved it, honestly. I don't know.
As a kid, I was definitely up in the dog's face because I had a little dog, a mini pin, and I loved her to death. But Cookie was definitely more of a defensive dog, you know.
Right.
Key.
So I remember as a kid, I wanted to be like those cuddly kids with their dogs. So I
Yep.
went up to her and I was like, "Bye, Cookie. I'm gonna go out." And I got on her face and I heard her growling, but I was like, she doesn't really mean it. And then she bit my face.
Wow.
She bit my cheek, like straight up. And I think that was pretty bad, but we didn't put her down. So, I mean, if the dog's nibbling on the finger, I mean, big whoop.
I don't think it was that big of a
It's
deal.
not even that.
The kid
like,
went to grab the dog's food. What was it the kid?
well,
thinking?
yeah, they're like
Yeah.
taking the food out of the kid's hands, but I think it's.
But that's what a dog does.
Yes, but
I'm
more
sorry.
importantly, you're supposed to be able to like train these dogs to be more gentle with the kids.
Not only that, but you should train the dog to not even look at the food on the table and see it as their own.
Well, yeah, that's a big if. That's a big trouble, because they see it and they're like food, But
That's why it's called training that they did not do. So that's on them. And I think it's all going back to the problem of they did not do their job as not just
and
parents.
if these are like 60-pound big dogs, it doesn't sound like they're very suited for a home with children anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know what
this
breed they
family
are,
especially.
But you can't get rid of them. They've been there for 10 years. If you would put them in another family, they'd be in shock. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, they
Yeah.
wouldn't be.
it
They would go to that.
would not do them any good. It would hurt
Yeah.
both.
At this point in
So
their
if,
lives,
if you're
it's like-
if you're the husband, what do you think you should do? Because we're talking about this wife the whole time. If you're the husband, what are you doing right now? And what do you think?
I think you should put them in doggy daycare so at least they can get some energy out. Maybe go ahead
that's
and
a great
like
solution.
introduce them to other dogs. Maybe they could try to give them like
Yeah.
reward them with like. Have you ever seen what is that show with the girl Stella and she's like the dog person?
Oh,
I forgot her
Hotel
name.
for Dogs. I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
wanna
No, no,
movie.
no, no,
It's a
no,
great
no,
one.
no, no, no. It's an actual show where she like trains the dogs.
I don't know. I've only seen Caesar Malone.
I gotta say though,
Okay.
like with dogs especially, and you want to usually start this very early on,
Yeah.
but I think this applies all across the board. They are social animals. They can
Yeah.
learn from each other. So
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that idea at all with the doggy daycare. That
But I
might
was
help
gonna
them.
say that while at doggy daycare, they can reward them with treats. So every time they sit,
Right,
they
that's
get a treat.
reinforcement.
Every time that
Right.
they don't grab from the table, they get a treat, and just continue it at home.
So what's our final consensus on this ultimatum?
They're both wrong.
We're thinking everyone's wrong in this situation. Dogs are right. Dogs rule.
Yeah,
I don't think that the dogs rule. I just think that you just poorly made decisions about your animals.
I think both
should not be-
the wife and the husband have made terrible decisions leading up to this point.
They should
It
not be
sounds
dog
like they did
owners.
not communicate well enough with each other at all. And communication is key in any relationship.
Maybe they should divorce. at
Can
this
you
point.
imagine what's going to
That's
happen to
what
their
I think.
child?
Right? They probably should
Yeah.
divorce.
he'll
at this
take the
point.
dog, she takes the kids.
There you go.
But can you imagine what's going to happen with the children if they can't even help with the dog, train the dog? How are they going to train a child? The kid's going to go crapping all over the place.
That's a good point. Either
Well, that's
way,
a way
good
of
luck to
thinking.
these two. Hope they don't get divorced.